Yeah, as we start back, I'm just going to throw out a term that I use a lot that is probably not very well defined, but it's there rattling around in our head, okay? That's, if you hear it, you'll have an idea of what I mean. Basically, on your 3-year plan, what we're asking you is, as a function of your abiding, where is that soil, that population segment that you're to commit to? Okay? The term we often use is mega segment. Okay? There's a lot of different descriptions, people cluster, affinity, different terms that are used. Let me explain what we mean. That's why we coined our own. Okay? What do we mean by a mega segment? This is just a chance as we come back, a little commercial, to coordinate our vocab for this, the purpose of this week. Then you can go back to calling it an omega zone if you want. Okay? What's a mega segment? You heard the illustration before that missions is not a pancake. You ever heard that? It's a? Okay, what do we mean by that? Mission's not a pancake, it's a waffle. What do we mean? Kumar, have you ever seen, you know what I mean by waffle, right? This week, someday this week, someone has to take Kumar to IHOP and get him a waffle, okay? You're gonna like it, brother.
You're gonna like it, brother.
What do we mean? It's a waffle, not a pancake.
Well, waffle has a bunch of different compartments, but they're all one thing. So,
Okay.
so in missions, you are maybe targeting one giant area, but it has a bunch of small little segments that are kind of connected to one another.
Okay,
So are you
good. Yeah. So you pour syrup on a pancake and what happens? It goes everywhere. That's what we'd call just a homogeneous culture, so to speak. A culture that there's no barriers to the syrup. The gospel message, if you will. But missions is not so much like that. Missions is more a waffle, which means if you want syrup in every bite, you've got to bring special attention to every little square because there's barriers across the whole. So nice illustration, thank you. You've learned that 20 years ago. It's still valuable. What we mean by a mega segment, right, is some population segment that has many subsegments. So we heard Augie say that his mega segment is Latinos. Well, there's 500 million of them. Spanish speakers, is that the way you said it, Augie? There's 500 million. So what are the subsegments of that mega segment? Spanish language belt? Great, that's a mega segment. How many subsegments are there? Well, Cubanos, is that the way you say it? Right? Actually, mainland from Spain, there's probably, yeah, Catholic would be a way to, that sin has separated and subsegmented that mega segment. Language belt in that case. Dominicans, Salvadorians, right? Huh? Venezuelan? Congo, urban. Okay, rural, urban. Good. Good. You might, and so in some cases, geography might create a subsegment, just like our commissions are, as we were talking during the break, the 5 Great Commission passages include both ethne and geography. Just like Matthew 24:14, in the whole world, testimony to all nations. Really, we've got a grid of geography and ethne in that sense, right? So I showed you a village map and I showed you a ethne map, right? A list of all the villages, geography. A list of all the ethne. Right? We're creating grids around these subsegments to understand them. That's our soil task. Let's see, another example, Manchester. Where'd we go?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right, Manchester. How many people in Manchester? 3 million. There is some initial base culture, probably Anglo in that setting, but there's also Somali refugees, and there's also Libyan Arabs, and there's also Gujarati Hindus, and Punjabi Sikhs, and there's all these subsegments of immigration that probably aren't going to be reached by the base Anglo culture. So how do we get to them? That Manchester's a waffle. You see it? So a mega segment is defined by various subsegments within it. Houston, I heard southeast, north, maybe it's geographic as far as team focus, but you got receptive peoples and near culture peoples that may be Christian all throughout that waffle, all throughout those subsegments. Some of them look purely like 0 to 1 soil. Meanwhile, right next door, in a close culture people, there may be a source of seed sowers that you can mobilize. All those things, stewardship of the soil. Okay, just some terms to throw out as we begin.